We're here to remind you of your magnificence. Help to you awaken to the joy that you are. We long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. We're here to remind you how much you're truly loved. Thank you. We have another little ditty which you may sing along with if you wish. Today we get to celebrate the life of one Dennis Thomas, who was one of the founding members of Kool and the Gang, by singing a James Taylor song. No, the other James Taylor, the cool James Taylor. Anytime, Greg. To last throughout the year. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're going to celebrate your party with you. Come on now, celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on! Woo-hoo! Celebrate good times, come on!
Well done, well done. Thank you, Park. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Greg. My gosh, excellent music, as always. What a blessing. Well, good afternoon now. Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Dr. David Goldberg, and welcome to Unity on the Avenue. We are a radically inclusive community. We honor all people, all relational orientations, all gender identities, and all paths to the divine, including those who are not on a spiritual path. I was just having a conversation with a dear friend of mine, and I was sharing that I had the honor of meeting with a family yesterday to plan a memorial for their beautiful 27-year-old daughter. And they were very clear as they were reaching out. They wanted to do a memorial to honor her life. They do not identify as religious. They do not identify as spiritual. They wanted a secular service. I said, okay, that's fine. The work that I do is not about me. It's about being of service to you. And then the mother, bless her heart, said, and as part of the service, I need you to pray for the two other people who were in the accident with my daughter. Their daughter got ran over twice on a highway. and it was nobody's fault, and there were no drugs, and there was no alcohol, and we have a traumatized 21-year-old young man and a traumatized 20-year-old young woman, and she said they did nothing wrong. Please ask everyone to pray for them as a part of our service. So you see, my friends, when we say we honor all religious traditions and those not on a spiritual path, there are good people all along the spectrum. So we love and we bless and we honor everyone. That is who we are here at Unity on the Avenue. And if there's any way that we can support you on your journey, please allow us to do that. We have a prayer box on the back table. You can do a written prayer request. Our chaplains will pray with you and for you. You can speak to me certainly anytime. And after the service, if you would like an in-person prayer, our chaplain in service today, Penny Ware, will be available in the back of the sanctuary to pray with you, to celebrate the good, to help you work through the interesting. So thank you for that. And now it brings me great joy to introduce Donna Lynn, who's going to share some announcements with you. I reserve the right.
Good morning. Announcements with upcoming classes and events. You can go to the website for more details or how to sign up or take a picture of the slide. Please feel free to join us for a popular snack and chat after the services in the courtyard or downstairs. Gather and share. Light refreshments are provided. Gong Bath with Greg Wilkins is the second and fourth Tuesdays. Yay! August 10th is the next one. And then we have also on the 24th of August, that is from 7 to 8 in the evening. Concerts in the courtyard. Ooh, we had a good one here yesterday. We had Karen Karsh and Freddie Rodriguez Jr., and it was fabulous. Yes, so the next one we're having is Saturday, August 21st. The group will be called Schools Out Band, and they play from 3 to 3:30. Interesting. And Bottle Rocket Hurricane from 4 to 6. Oh, that sounds exciting. A class entitled An Experience in Beloved Community is continuing until October 25th. You can join at any time. To register, contact Doris Hoskins directly. We are anchored in prayer. At Unity on the Avenue, our prayer chaplain today is Penny Ware. She will lead us with our statement of faith and our prayer reading.
Good morning. Climbing up those stairs, I should have worn my hiking boots. So would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. So with that, just relax. Feel your seat support you. You may close your eyes if you want to. Just allow these words to become your words. As you focus on your breath, inhale and exhale. And resting in the awareness of your breath transforms your life into a living meditation. Peace is our innate and natural nature. We are love. As you breathe in and breathe out, just know that you are peace and you are love. Sit down this blessed moment and listen carefully to my voice within your soul. I love you unconditionally. Just breathe this in. You are my cherished child, are always safe from harm. There is no judgment day. You may think I'm not listening to your woes when life seems hopeless or unfair, but you are not listening to me. All you've read about shall pass in divine order. Divine order prevails. When you realize this present lesson, you will walk on water away from the storm. Away from the storm. Just breathe in. Just breathe out. Take this cloak of self-compassion and wrap it gently around yourself. Comfort your soul when it is crying for me. You are never lost or alone. I am with you always, whether you pray or go to church or believe or not. I am there. I am there. I am your breath. I cannot forsake you because we are one. My kingdom is yours for the listening to your own inner wisdom. You are wise. You are loved. You are peace. And we give thanks for this holy moment, the sacred presence of God, the breath that we are. And so it is. Amen.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. This next piece is one that I wrote that I thought would fit well with the topic this morning. It's titled, If Not Now, When? If not now, when? You could wait for your ship to come in. You could wait, don't talk of the way things have been and how you'll never be free. If not now, when? You could wait for your dreams to begin. You could look to a power in the sky to tell you what you should be. We live in the shadow of what we might be. with only ourselves in the way of what we might be. If we shift the way we look at you and me, if not now, when? You could wait for your life to begin. Yes, I realize there's still the unknown, and yet we have grown somehow. Starting now. We live in the shadow of what we might find. With only ourselves in the way, we're what make us blind. And so we shift the way we look within our mind. If not now, when? It's not too late for your life to begin. I know only one thing to be true. The power is in you right now. So why not make a vow, starting now? Starting now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Excellent work. So, my friends, I also wanted to offer a welcome for those who are here for the first time. You are with us, you are loved, you are already a part of this community. We're not going to make you stand up. We're not going to hand you a flower. That works for some people, but not for everybody. So just know that we're holding the space for you, and we love you, and we adore you, and we hope you'll join us many more times to come on Sunday or any other day for any other activity that speaks to you. Also, as we get started this morning, I wanted to share with you, speaking of first-time guests, that one of our very newest congregants made his transition at the end of July. David Goff was with us on the 4th of July with his beloved wife, Pam, and David made his transition into the greater yet to be, and we'll be holding his memorial next Saturday at 11 a.m. And Pam, thank you for being here. We love you. We love David. We continue to support and honor you however we can. And as we step into celebrate, you know, I love it when a theme comes together. We are celebrating summer reading as so many young people are getting ready to go back to school, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like. Many of them are trying to cram a whole summer's worth of reading into 3 days, if they're anything like me. And so we thought, why not join these young people in celebrating our summer reading list? So last week, Rick did a great job talking about This Life is Joy by Dr. Roger Teal. And this week, we're stepping into mindfulness, specifically with an excellent book written by Holly Duckworth and Eric Szymanski, who are with us. Thank you both, beloveds, for being here. And the title of the book is Sell More, Stress Less, 52 Tips to Become a Mindful Sales Professional. Now, for those who are saying, oh, that's nice, David, I'm sure they're lovely and I'm not in sales, I would suggest, yes, you are. We all are. We all have something to sell. Perhaps we're selling a church. Perhaps we're selling a product or a service, either for ourselves or as a part of another organization. We are all selling something, beloveds. So I invite you to expand your perspective and be in the question of what's in it for me. What are we talking about, and what can I grasp, and what can I pull in, and what can I learn from today? So, one of the things that really struck me, full disclosure, Holly and Eric were kind enough to invite me to be the editor of this book. So, so I know it well, and yes, it is on the top of my reading list. And one of the things that struck me as I was working with these two beloved beings is, like all of us on a spiritual path, they were doing the work, right? They were doing their own work as best they knew. And as is written in the book, so I'm not disclosing anything out of confidentiality here or in breach of confidentiality, Holly, being a mindfulness expert, being a powerful minister in her own right, and perhaps everything but title, she's doing extraordinary work in the world around mindfulness, about inviting people into that, specifically in the corporate arena and in the association arena. So what does that mean? How can we show up as our spiritual selves in our workplace, whatever that is? Is it an association? Is it a school? Is it a corporation? Is it a foundation? How can we be who we are without compartmentalizing and checking different parts of ourselves? So Holly was doing all of that work and continues to do that work. She's an excellent speaker. She was a columnist for the magazine that we both worked for at one point. She has been published in the New York Times. She continues to do extraordinary work. Her podcast is amazing. She's always interviewing trendsetters and people who are shedding a new and unique light on so many different things. Halfway across the country, Eric, also doing the work in a very different way, in a very different language, as a senior sales executive with a particular company headquartered in Florida that has a mouse as a logo. So Eric is doing this amazing work at Disney, and as a sales professional, what do we know? Things are always shifting and growing and changing. So his territory is getting smaller and his sales goals are getting bigger. Anybody ever have one of those kinds of experiences? How am I supposed to do that in my professional life? So I love the way Spirit works. There are no mistakes. Synchronicity is an awesome thing. Holly and Eric connected and were able to support each other after sharing their stories. So Eric is sharing his heart with Holly and saying, this is what's going on. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. I know sales, but there are other forces at work here that I'm not really clear about, and it feels hard. And Holly zooms right in, always knowing the right question, and says, does it have to be that way? Spiritual lesson, my friends, for the note takers. Here's point number 1. Does it have to be that way? And Eric recalls of taking a step back and asking himself that question and coming to the determination, no, I don't think it does. And conversely then, what do we know in reciprocal arrangements and relationships? That it's give and it's take and we're in the flow with each other, right? So Holly, having done all of this great work, has been doing a number of business pitches and pitching new business and small things and large things and projects and presenting herself as a keynote speaker for organizations and not landing as many gigs as she would like. And she didn't see any common threads. Some of her competitors, she acknowledges, were perhaps a better fit for the work. Some of them, no. Some of them were Never say cheap. Some of them were less expensive than she was, and some of them were more expensive. So she couldn't put it together. And Eric nailed it with his body of knowledge, knowing what he knows when he shared. So as Eric was working with Holly, what he shared with her is, how do you close your prospects? What are the steps that you work through? What is the business end of your business? And for being as magnificent as Holly is, her brain didn't necessarily work that way, and she did not have those things that Eric had been working in for decades. So you see, we don't know what we don't know. What I know to be hard the first time I do it, somebody else is like, oh yeah, let me do that, right? And you're willing to help somebody with something that's awesome for you, and vice versa. And so as I was reflecting on Holly and Eric's story, the parallel between our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, struck me as an immediate download, and I found it fascinating. So if you're not aware, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore are the co-founders of the teaching of unity. And it was in the beginning of the last century when Myrtle was not doing well physically. It has been written that she was literally in the depths of despair, that perhaps she was on death's doorstep. So, those are not the positive words and the languaging that we're used to in the New Thought movement. And yet that is where Myrtle found herself. And Charles was actually in the real estate world, and what do we know happened in the 1920s? It was the Great Depression. And we're talking specifically economic, and it certainly affected all things. So Myrtle found New Thought teachings, my words, nobody else's, may not help, but it couldn't hurt. So she dove in, and she literally healed herself from tuberculosis. So she had a dramatic personal healing. And as Charles saw his beloved dive into these teachings and heal herself, he thought maybe there's something to this. So he dove in as well, looking at Eastern religion and Western philosophy and exploring everything. And that is how they came to the tradition that is unity, right? She supported him, he supported her, and as with our guests today, 1 + 1 is so much greater than 2. So, what I know about this book is that Holly and Eric wrote it in such a way that there are 3 different sections. In the first section, they are making the case for mindfulness. And for folks who might be new to the concept, they explain what mindfulness is. It's a knowing, it's a willingness to explore. And they also explain, I sense a little bit more from Eric's perspective, what is the sales process, right? Because so many folks are brilliant entrepreneurs, and they've got the ideas, and they've got the what if, and they've got the people skills, and you ask them about a business plan, and they kind of look at you like you fell off a tomato truck, as my mom used to say. So they bring both of their skills together to create that case study for what is mindfulness. And using their own story so beautifully, I'm struck by one of the stories that Eric tells in the book, when he said he's relaying the story of how he did everything that he knew how to do. He walked through his 7-step process. He communicated with his team. He did his personal work. He met with the client. He had a very good sense of what they wanted and needed. And it was time for the big meeting. It was time to close the deal. And they sat down, and Eric just wasn't feeling it. Things were going sideways. Comments were being made, people weren't focused, things that he had dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, and people just weren't engaging. So he did what he knows how to do. He took a step back. And he said, what else might be true? And he looked at his colleagues, and he looked at his guests, and he asked a question. He said, "What time was your flight this morning?" And he was on the East Coast, and as his colleagues were traveling in from the West Coast, their flight was really, really early. And he said, "What time did you have to get up today?" And it was really, really, really early. Any of us who have been on a plane know how that works. And so, rather than being in that place of driving to completion and we have to get this done, and what about my numbers, and P.S., there might be a bonus in there. I thought I'd throw that in. But Eric said, all of this stuff will wait. Let's go to lunch. His guests were tired and hungry. And what do we know about Maslow and Maslow's hierarchy? We have to take care of our basic needs first. So Eric retells the story of moving into the dining room. Everybody's having lunch. Guards are let down. People are communicating better and more effectively and more honestly. They go back and they do the work post haste, and they get it done. And most importantly, as they also share in the book, everything starts and ends with intention. So when Eric sets the intention that when he's working with people, it's a win-win-win, everybody came out with what they wanted and what they needed, right? So that is the case study that I invite you into. That's the spiritual practice. When you feel like you've done all the work on whatever level that is, and it's still not resonating, you're still not feeling in alignment with what you know to be true, take that step back. Ask that question. What else might be true? What am I missing? What is mine to learn? What is Spirit trying to tell me in this moment, right? So that's making the case for mindfulness, not only in sales, but in all of our lives, in our personal activities, in our familial relationships, being present. That's all we have, my friends, is the right here and the right now, as Eckhart Tolle writes and tells us. All we have is this moment. So then the second piece of the book is that 7-step process. And no, I'm not going to tell you you have to buy the book. But what that is the specifics, right? From Eric's structural mind that says this is the process that he works through. So what do we know about the steps in that process? Well, again, I gave you the first one. Everything starts and ends with intention. You can do that. I can do that. I invite us into that if we're not used to it. We have some beautiful friends here, lifelong friends. Peter and George, thank you for being here. Suzanne, thank you for getting them here. And they're getting ready to go on an annual trip. They do it every year. It brings them joy. It makes their hearts happy. And my sense is, I'm making this up, my sense is they have a checklist about what they want to take and what they want to do. And they're able to be in the flow because some things are taken care of, if that makes sense to you. Rick and I enjoy traveling as well. We have our checklist. Now we've added a whole column for Terry about doggy daycare and sitter information, and sometimes you got to shrink the font to get everything on the same page. But my point is, planning ahead makes a difference. If you're used to planning ahead, you know that. If you're not used to planning ahead, my sense is you appreciate that. And so that is part of Holly's story as well, that she was doing all of those things, and she was doing all of those things so beautifully, and yet she felt like she was putting a lot of time and energy in for the ROI that she was getting, for the return on investment. So, what do you know as a spiritual entrepreneur? Sometimes it's okay to ask for help. Maybe it's from a networking group. Maybe it's from somebody you used to work with. Maybe it's from a new friend and a new colleague. Yeah, I know I have a lot to offer. And the older I get, the more clear I am that I know less than everything. So feel free to reach out for help. That is one of the steps that all of us can embrace. I shared earlier that our prayer chaplains are powerful prayer practitioners. When's the last time you reached out for prayer? You know the value, you see the value, you feel the value because you're participating in spiritual community. And let us continue to support you. I can tell you, when you heard when you heard dear Penny pray this morning, she is in that space. She is so clear of her connection to the divine. She knows the truth for you. So again, if you're celebrating something, turn it over to Penny. Let her celebrate with you. If there's something that's happening that's interesting in your life, turn it over to Penny and let her know the truth with you and for you. Take advantage of the resources that are available to you. That's another piece that I got from Sell More, Stress Less. And the other point that we know is that from a metaphysical perspective, everything is a choice, right? So we can choose to be stressed out, or we can choose to get help. Eric is at the top of her game. Holly is at the top of their game. And they chose to communicate to say, you might know more about this than I do. So you see, I invite you to identify who can you reach out to, whatever you're dealing with. Is it professional? Is it relational? Is it spiritual? There is somebody who would love to help you. And then the final piece of the book, and certainly one of the most powerful for me, is 52 tips toward mindfulness. And yes, it's certainly from a sales perspective. And to that point of getting what you need whenever you need it, everybody can use the tips that are in this book. So for those who are a little more linear, if you appreciate defined situations, well, what does that sound like? 52 tips equals 52 weeks a year. So if you want to jump in, you can pick it up and do one tip a week for the next year. If you're really structural, you can get it and put it on your nightstand and wait until January 1st, and then you'll be right on track, right? And then your OCD won't get out of control. If you're analytical, if you're a little bit more in the big picture arena, you can get it and read the table of contents and read a little bit and jump around a little bit. If you're a little more conceptual, you can start at the back and maybe jump to the front and read the table of contents and go to week 36, and you're going to get exactly what you need, right? If you're a little more relational, if you're a little more social, well, by all means, you need to join our book group and you need to read it together, because it's really not about the content of the book, it's who you're with. So, and they mention this in the book, there's no wrong way to do it. So engage it in a way that works for you and feeds your soul. So the spiritual lessons then, my friends, are our life is a case study. As I so shared Eric and Holly's story, one of many delightful stories, you have equally delightful and powerful stories. Engage. Find a way to share your story. Because you see, Eric and Holly's story is just their story until they capture it and people are able to participate in it. And that's one of the things that brings me great joy as an editor, as a publisher, is helping people take their work to the world. So ask for help. Use your life as a case study. For those who were with us yesterday morning with Reverend Zamara and the crystal bowls, oh my goodness, what a powerful experience. And she told one story about how she came to be engaged and how she got to connect with crystal bowls. She said, years ago in the church talent show, her dad got one of the old trimline phones. Those of us of a certain age remember that. And her talent for the talent show was playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by punching the buttons on the phone. And she said that was her first invitation into sound and the power of sound and the resonance of sound. And that's her personal story. Yours is equally as important. Yours is equally as powerful. So what is your case study? What is your story? And finally, who is your village? I would like to think that we are your village, that we are each other's village, that we come together in support. We have folks who are busy during the day, and they come after service for our snack and chat. And that's perfect. That is what the community is here for them and how we can serve them. We had people at the Crystal Bowl ceremony yesterday morning. We had 30 or 40 people who had never been to Unity on the Avenue before. We had 40 or 50 people here last night for the concert who had never been to Unity on the Avenue before. You see, we're trying not to be in that place of ego that the only thing a church can do is Sunday morning. However you find us, however you come to us, we bless you for that. We have a whole second congregation that loves Greg that comes the second and fourth Tuesday of every month for the gong bath. It brings them joy. We don't necessarily know who they are. He certainly does. It's his congregation. But they come and they use our facility and they share our energy. So you see, there's no wrong way to do spirituality. So as I move to a close on the piece about sell more, stress less, being one of those being one of those people who tends to bounce around a little bit, read the whole book, and I'm going to share with you just a little bit from page 3. Here is the truth. We are programmed to believe things are always getting upgraded. Time always gets faster, and there is not enough. Here is another truth. We are not a technology device. We are not robots who can always go faster or get stronger. We are human beings, not human doings. Our message is simple yet profound. We are here to tell you that the integration of mindfulness into your personal practice, as well as your work with your clients and your leadership team and coworkers, is the solution. Powerful work. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Eric. You are such a blessing to so many. And they have been kind enough to offer us a couple of autographed copies of their book. And I would like to know who one of our first-time visitors is today. Raise your hand. And I would also like to know, and I should probably know this, for our elders, for our wisdom keepers, who has been here at Unity on the Avenue the longest? Penny? 86? About that time. You're closer. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, if you would, join me in prayer. How good it is to dive into that which feeds us on so many levels, to allow ourselves that moment to check in, to explore what it is to be mindful, what it is for us to be mindful of ourselves, how we show up, how we express the divine. And what I know is the spiritual principles that run through everything are always supporting us, regardless of the nomenclature, regardless of what we call it, regardless of what it might look like. And I'm so grateful for these two extraordinary beings answering the cosmic yes, being their authentic selves, sharing their stories so that others might learn, that others might gain, that others might prosper on so many levels. And for everyone within the sound of my voice, I invite you into a moment of mindfulness. Maybe that's 2 minutes when you wake up. Maybe that's a half an hour before you go to bed. Maybe that's, as our beloved Donnie Lynn was sharing, maybe that's a drive through a cemetery that brings you peace. You get to define it for yourself. You have a direct connection to the divine, beloved. Use it, tap into it, know what it is and what it means for you. So we continue to be in the space of mindfulness, recognizing that all we have is the here and the now. We live the concept of namaste. The divinity in me blesses and recognizes the divinity in you right here and right now and always. So I simply know that to be the truth of me. I know that to be the truth of you. I know that truth to be the truth of every sentient being on the planet. It is good, it is very good, it is divinely inspired and divinely appointed. God knows what God is doing. And I know that we allow our human selves to be in alignment with that energy. And so I just call that in for all of us. That peace, that joy, that connectivity that comes with mindfulness. And I find myself in a place of deep gratitude. I say thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. All is well. God is magnificent. And together we say, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Good, good, good. How beautiful to be in community. And so now, my friends, is that opportunity for us to be in that place of mindful giving. And we know that as we give, so we shall receive. And thank you. Thank you for your continued gifts. Thank you for your support. I want you to know that Unity on the Avenue is on strong financial footing, and that we continue to take the fiduciary responsibility of honoring your gifts and tithes with great respect. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we have several ways for you to give. You can certainly always give online. You can drop a check or cash or come by. Whatever suits you, we'll do everything we can to find a way to humbly accept your gifts. Good news, we are back to passing our basket. So thank you and blessings to Mark and to Ellen and to Rick. And thank you, as always, for your generosity. And please, as those are being passed, join me in the blessing of our gifts and tithes. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds humming a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. And noticing the day hurrying by, when you're in love, my how they fly. Oh, blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies all day long. skies down along, nothing but blue skies from now on. Thank you.
So Park, you need to know, when you all were rehearsing that earlier today, blue skies started to appear and the smoke started to clear. Park, Ron, Greg, thank you all so much. Beautiful, beautiful. And let us hold that intention this week and beyond, my friends, not only in our beautiful Colorado, but across our country and across the globe. Blue skies. So before we step into our children's blessing, I do have a couple of things to remind you of. First, we are still looking for hosts and for facilitators for our Spirit Expressing program, Ask and It Is Given. It is Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Esther and Jerry Hicks and the Teachings of Abraham. So that's starting mid-September. You can host a group in your home if you choose. You decide the time, the day, and you can also choose to facilitate if you'd like in someone else's home, here at the church, or online. I see a couple of our facilitators here. Thank you for signing up early. We have clipboards in the back if that speaks to you. Any of our board members, any of our chaplains, I would be happy to provide you with more information. And we just got our workbooks to accompany the books, so we're really excited. This is going to be a great chance for us as a community to do a deeper dive into all aspects of prosperity and abundance. And I was going to share something else with you. Oh, yes. So with regard to our summer reading list, last week, This Life is Joy. Today, Sell More, Stress Less. Next week, we're going to be focusing on a dear friend and colleague for many of us, Reverend Dr. Kathleen Lenover. We're going to take a little bit of a detour. We've been asked not to speak about her book directly because it's not quite ready for prime time. But we are going to speak about her beautiful consciousness. We're going to speak about her work again in support of entrepreneurs. And the name of her book, which is public, is I Am Perfect for This. So that is what we know to be true, right? Whatever we choose to step into, I am perfect for this. And next week happens to be the 1-year anniversary of Reverend Dr. Kathleen's transition. So please join us. We plan on honoring her and her work and what we know to be true as metaphysicians. Okay, so now let's rub our hands together, get that energy rolling, and please join me in a blessing for our children of our community and the world. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine being that you are. And our prayer for protection. Please join me. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go in power, go in peace.
Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now